بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك يا رب الكريم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Well, to be honest, we should be happy today, of course, but it's a difficult day to be happy with what's happening in Egypt. People have to understand that Egypt affects everything. It really is the crux of the Middle East, and such a large population, such a large heritage, and so on. So it's a very difficult time, to be honest, at the moment. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala an yastur al-Masr, that He protects the Muslims of Masr, that He protects the people of Sunnah, that He preserves the life of the innocent, that He rids us of the hypocrites of Tamarrud, and the hypocrites of all those that oppose Sharia, that oppose the Muslims, even those who don't want Sharia, and that He gives istiqamah to Mursi and his people. It's a difficult time, wallahi. Anyway, that is for that, and this is for now. So, alhamdulillah, we are 7 months in. 7 months, alhamdulillah. Exactly. What is the day? 3rd of July. Yeah, and 5th of December we started, sah? So 7 months later, alhamdulillah, we have done about 30 odd lessons, something like that. 30 total, huh? 30 lessons. We're still stuck on water, takriban. 30 lessons, yani, and we're still stuck on water. But yani, alhamdulillah, it's fiqh, it's deen, it's our heritage, it's our tradition. We'll take it slowly, we'll take it in detail, alhamdulillah. Anyway, so obviously, so this is now our last lesson, because next week is Ramadan, inshallah. Wednesday evening Ramadan will definitely have started. And so therefore, this is our final session for logical progression, and we will then be having a break. Did you do the dates?
The dates, not the time.
Sorry?
We'll let you know the time at the end.
Okay. So that's a no then. We'll let you know at the end.
Pakistani Independence Day, 14th of August.
Wallah, what a day. What a day. We return on Pakistan Independence Day. What a day. Hold on. Because I know a lot of you like me to sing to you on a Wednesday evening. How does it go? Is it quwwati, quwwati, or uwati, uwati? What is it? What's the next line? I can do this song. Da 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 da. I'm protecting you because obviously you shouldn't sing too much. So, we return on August 14th, inshallah. We'll tell you the time towards the end. Anyway, because it's Ramadan next week, and we thought that what would be nice is to have a session where we cover not just the fiqh of Ramadan, but actually the fiqh of Ramadan as Shaykh Al-Uthaymeen alayhi rahmatullah, how he saw it. And so, you will have received a little document. I call it a little document. That's what I thought when I received it first in the email. 12 hours later, yani, of stress over it, and thinking and correcting and retranslating and crashing and translating. What a mission. But anyway, so the not so small document has been translated as of literally 6:30, and I just, I put it into the form that it is, and you would all have received it. I'm hoping that you brought it with you, because that's what the message said, that we were going to go through it tonight. If you didn't, it's actually very simple. Online, obviously, the students will have it, but we're going to go through it now anyway, and I'll read it out because I have it here as well. And So let me just tell you what happened. Obviously, Kitab al-Siyam in in Sharh Mumti itself is actually, because actually fasting is not very big as a subject. Actually, and it's very simple as well. It's like the easiest of the chapters of fiqh, no doubt about that, compared to like salah and whatever. So that's all it is from one volume. That's that's like about 200 pages. No, it's not over 200 pages. Yeah, 200 pages. It's 200 pages, which is basically nothing. Okay, and that's Kitab al-Siyam, and that's in the 6th volume, isn't it? Yeah, 6th volume of Sharh Mumti'. Now, what happened is that this 6 volumes was then broken down by one of the students of knowledge into a few pages, and then one of the other asatidha, one of the teachers from one of the Saudi universities or something like that, he then put it into 30 points, 30 kind of single one-liners. And so I thought, well, Sheikh Imtiaz Damio, Hafidhahullah, my friend, he knew that I wanted to do something brief, and so he found this on one of the websites somewhere, and he sent it to me, and he goes, why don't you use this? And I said, Wallah jazakallah khair. And then I translated it, and as I said, it became a nightmare during translation, and I regretted every single second of it. It was then that I realized that it was all a plan, and I'd just been hooked up and just translated it for nothing. And but so it's quite good. It's quite good. I'm trying to find is this a spare copy? Another, because this iPad, being an iPad, is a lot of nonsense. How useless is iPad, please? Can we please ask for it to be returned back to International Sign and Najasa, because it's a disaster. Anyway, so 30 points on the fiqh of fasting, a summary of Kitab al-Siyam, which is what I just showed you, from a Sharh al-Mumti', which is this book here, volume 6, by Sheikh al-Uthaymin alayhi rahmatullah. So let's start from the beginning, and then maybe we'll have some time for a few questions, but we'll read through and then we'll have a little explanation of the points. So point number 1, he starts off with, he goes at Sawm, which is fasting, okay, which means linguistically it means to refrain from, okay, that's what it actually means, to actually refrain physically, and it doesn't mean necessarily to refrain from eating. It can actually mean to refrain from anything, and that's why we know that in the Quran, Maryam alayhi salam, she did a sawm, but from speaking. Yep. So that I think is important, that for linguistically you appreciate that it just means to hold back from. So, but technically speaking, fasting is defined as the worship of Allah with the intention of refraining from food, drink, intercourse, and all those things which break the fast. All those things which break the fast from the break of dawn until sunset. And I think every single Muslim on the planet knows that, and it's pretty straightforward. I think the only thing to emphasize from this opening definition is that it is an act of worship, which is important to emphasize during a definition. Some people might just focus on definition. And secondly, intention is absolutely key. There has to be an intention, and especially so in a country like the UK, right? Or northern countries like the people who will be listening to this, those who are in Northern Europe or Canada and so on. Because we have seasons, okay, obviously not at this moment in time, but 10, 15 years back, or not even that long ago, I mean certainly 10 years, 7, 8 years ago, where literally fasting is having a late lunch or a late breakfast or a really late breakfast, right? It's like, sunrise or Fajr like kicks in at 7, yeah, and at 3:45 or something you're done. And there are better people who would wake up late, for example, yeah, and they ain't got time to have breakfast, and they have a busy lunch, and they grab a quick snack, 3-4 o'clock, and then that's basically it. You know what I'm saying? So certainly from the physical food and eating and drinking point of view, then it's very, very clear that that is only a very small part of the fast. And a person, if he doesn't or she doesn't really appreciate the wider aspects of the fast itself, that it is an act of worship, that it is about refraining from other things as well, and that the other ahadith and we're not really, and I'll be frank, I'm not here to sell fasting, all right? Because obviously fasting is a beautiful act of worship. It has many, many ahadith, many fada'il, and there are And you'll find books which are specifically for this. You know, when it comes to the books of fiqh, I've always told you that when it comes to teaching law, although we might want to do it from our own point of view to make something, a bit more attractive to students, but actually the books of fada'il, virtues, okay, they're separate categories of books. They don't get involved in the books of fiqh. Because we're here to talk about the law. When we want to give a khutbah, we want to encourage the people, then we go to the books of fada'il. And we have other books called the books of targhib wa tarhib. Targhib wa tarhib meaning to create a raghba, to create a desire to do the act and to terrify the people from not doing the act. Okay, so there's always, targhib wa tarhib meaning a book which combines all of the hadith which praise the action. You'll get this reward, you will get this reward, you'll get that reward, and then the tarhib section comes always at the end. And if you don't do it, then this is what will happen. If you don't do it, then this is what will happen. And this is the combined books of targhib wa tarhib. And there's some very famous books. We have some here, and every Islamic library has some of that. So you need to understand these categorization of knowledge in itself. You have the books of fiqh, which just deal with the rules, and that's what we're here to do. Okay? And then you have the books of fada'il, which are the books of virtue, which are trying to jazz up the subject, and that's very important to do for the Muslims, especially the basic Muslims. And this is not a gathering of the basic Muslims. People ain't coming Wednesday night for the last 7 months because they're basic Muslims. They're here because they recognize that, I've got to up my game and learn my deen. I know why I need to do certain actions, and I'm looking forward to Ramadan. I don't need it to be sold to me. I'm desperately looking forward to taking a break and recharging my batteries, and I just need to know how to make sure I do it right. So fada'il has its place. And targhib wa tarhib, the books of encouraging and discouraging good acts and the obligations and so on, that has its place as well. So I want you to know about that I can't spend this time or actually any lesson dealing with the law on those matters. And the reason I mentioned that, the reason I even make that point is because in this country, if you have a fast which is so short, it is important to emphasize to the people that there has to be more than just seeing the fast as eating and drinking or not eating and drinking, okay? Because I repeat again and again, and this is a cliche, but I don't know anything which is more true. Not eating and not drinking is the easiest part of the fast. Okay, it will take 1 or 2 days to kick in. If you've been practicing in Sha'ban, you'll have no problem. And if you've been really silly and you're risking your Ramadan and allowing 1 or 2 days of that as a sacrifice, then that's very silly, immature behavior, because you have no idea whether Allah will get you towards the middle or towards the end. It's a risk. You shouldn't be practicing within the days of Ramadan. That's what Sha'ban is for. Sha'ban is the practice month, the mock exam. Ramadan itself is when you're ready and you just jump in. It's the final exam, khalas. So, but yes, many people don't get the time, don't have the will, and so they jump in. But even after a day or two, they're into the routine. They know that, okay, I've got this measured now. I've understood now my caffeine needs, my medicine needs. I've worked out the amount of food, that it was a mistake to eat so much at Sahari time. I'm starting to feel hungry, I eat less now. So you'll pick that up easily. A human behavior is like that, all right? The real difficult time is maintaining a clear focus. A clear focus, remaining motivated all the way through, making sure that your tongue is absolutely uncontrollable, that your tongue is very, very, very much under the thumb, and that you're not allowing it to think about things and saying things, or even to articulate what you're thinking, to making sure that your heart is absolutely maintaining a clean and pure approach to everything and the circumstances and the people that you meet around you. That's the most difficult thing. That's the rancor in the heart, anger in the heart, envy in the heart. These are the things, the desire and controlling desires, and the sexual desire, for example, which is absolutely, which is something that is far more difficult to control because other people don't see it, because it's hidden inside. Whereas eating and drinking, someone will hook you up, someone will embarrass you, but no one can embarrass you upon what you're thinking about in your heart and your mind and so on and so forth. And then at the same time, you're also knowing, but in the back of your mind, they told me that Ramadan is a special time, all their actions are rewarded many, many times over, and so therefore, but you're not feeling it yourself, you're not connecting, but you have to do something. And this is where the majority of the people actually fall into this category. They might not know enough Arabic, they might not know enough Quran, they might not know enough Seerah, or have an emotional connect, so that they're really, really spiritually being cleansed, and so, but they still realize that they need to, and so they force themselves through acts of ibadah. And then when you start to force yourself through acts of ibadah, that's why the Quran comes out for everyone. Everyone comes out of the Quran in this month. People who don't know it, people who have never read it before, people who literally are blowing the dust off the covers. But they know that they have to try and do something. To maintain that level of ibadah, to maintain level of concentration in Taraweeh, to maintain level and stamina, being able to be happy with the recitation and not just say you're happy. It makes me sick to hear all the people who say, oh, I can't wait until Taraweeh. I never saw anyone who couldn't wait until Taraweeh. It's the biggest blag ever. Look at the masajid and you'll see that if the people really couldn't wait until Taraweeh, you will see them happy and fresh in Taraweeh, making all the effort to make Taraweeh their most important part. But they eat and stuff themselves and they can't stand up. They wear all these clothes, don't prepare it, so that they're all too hot and they're sweating. They're looking for any excuse to get out the masjid. They're looking for any excuse to make the imam go fast. They're looking for any excuse for something to happen, change, time. And they always want to blame the trustees. They want to blame the imam. They want to blame the mosque. But in actual fact, no one's willing to blame themselves because they're not actually willing to connect with the Quran themselves. How many people, when they go into the month of Ramadan or into that night of Quranic recitation, that they spend 10, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour before the night itself, actually going over what the Imam will recite. You know Arabic or not know Arabic, just going over it, making connection of a few words, and then at least, even if you don't know Arabic, when the Imam is reciting, you're picking up words. You're thinking, okay, yep, he's talking about that, that's a narrative, that's part of the story, and at least making it an interactive experience. Because people don't really actually make Taraweeh the big highlight of their Ramadan. They all talk a big game, but in practice it's something very different. So that's why this definition is very important. It is the worship of Allah, okay? It's the worship of Allah at a time where worship is, it can't be done in any better form, at any better time. So that's something which we need to focus on. Right, let's get into some rules. It is sufficient, still on point 1, it is sufficient for the fasting of Ramadan to make a single intention at the beginning of the month. Now I said to you, like every other action, intention is key. Intention is absolutely fundamental. If you do not intend to do this act of worship, just like I said, in the winter time, you just wake up late and you think, you know what, that's fine. I can just wait a couple of hours and then I'll eat. And if you haven't made a proper intention that I am fasting for the sake of Allah, then you don't get that fast written for you. And I want to say to you that we're going to come across a point later, just to show you the strength of the intention. We're going to come across a point later which actually will discuss the rulings of the people who are insane and then the people who fall asleep all day. So I just want to throw it out there. If a person sleeps from, I don't know, he prays Isha, and he is so tired that as soon as he prays Isha, he just goes up, there's no way I can stand here for Taraweeh. He goes home, he falls asleep. Okay, he falls asleep. This guy, he wakes up after Maghrib the next day. So sleeping through Fajr is standard, okay, right? Standard for this pack, no problem, right? And then as for the sleeping through the rest of the day, that's obviously a freak occurrence. But if we can imagine at 3 or 4 o'clock Maghrib, then that's quite a possibility as well. What's the ruling on his fast? So, I mean, he missed everything. He missed suhoor, he missed the day, he missed the iftar, he missed everything. Completely gone.
If you have the intention to fast.
Okay, does it matter?
If you made the intention at the beginning of the month.
Okay, all right. We are going to cover this, but I just want to gauge, your thoughts. Let me put it a different way. Let me change the question to someone who is insane, okay? And he is insane clinically for all that period of time that I just mentioned. Just put the same situation in. Clinically insane.
Is it not about the pen being lifted with 3 different occasions?
Sorry?
Is it about the hadith about the pen being lifted 3 different occasions?
So the pen is lifted, which means, therefore?
Insane person who's sleeping or who's not valid.
Okay, so the pen has been lifted from the insane person, you're saying, okay? The sleeping person and the one who is not post-pubescent, baligh, old enough, yeah? So using that hadith, the one who is insane for that whole period of time, whether he tried to fast or not, whether he understood the fast or not, what's the ruling on his fast? Anyone? Sorry? It wasn't obligatory on him in the first place. Doesn't matter. That is the correct answer. Okay? Is the correct answer. What about if it was obligatory upon him and he became crazy? And he became sane again after Maghrib?
That day, would it just be that day which is allowed?
Because?
He was insane during that period.
Correct. So that day himself, he does not have to fast it. Does he have to make it up?
No.
He doesn't have to make it up either, because it wasn't an obligation upon him, because he wasn't a precondition for the fast. Is that clear, everybody? Yeah? Because it is, as we're going to come to see in a second, is a condition to be in control of your senses. Is that clear? Now, remember we're using the same hadith you mentioned, okay? The pen has been lifted from the sleeping one, the insane one, and the baligh one. So now we transfer the situation to the sleeping guy. He slept at Isha time, okay? And he wakes up after Maghrib on the next day. Is his fast accepted or not? Okay, because you want to know about intention. Let's say that he has made the intention at the beginning of the month. He's made the intention to fast at the beginning of the month. Okay? So at the first suhoor, on the first night, he's there with his mum and his parathe and his keema. Why? Abu Dhar, Qasmi, why? What happened to cereal, man? Wallah, why did they make keema and chana? Oh, paratha. They eat proper salad, they eat proper whack it. Huh? Abdul Ghaffar? What does Somalis eat for suhoor, wallah? Moose. Did they eat bananas with rice? Astaghfirullah, Shaykh. Please tell me that they don't eat at suhoor time as well. Or maybe it's the fiqh. Banana gives energy and energy. Sah. Fiqh, wallah, fiqh. This is where we're losing out, Shaykh. Can you give us some advice for some good suhoor tips, ya Shaykh? Give us some advice. Shaykh, don't get serious on me, might make it funny.
For me, I mean, milk and dates.
Wallahi, jazakallah khair. Good. No paratha?
No. So I mean, iftar.
Iftar, no problem. I don't know, seriously. It's not just me, yeah? It's all packs, right? They go sick on eggs and paratha. Like heavy behavior, man. What is all that about? Anyway, my man, Apna, he's there at that time and he makes his intention for the whole month. Is that clear? As per the statement of Shaykh Uthaymeen, it is sufficient for the fasting of Ramadan to make a single intention at the beginning of the month. So that's fine. This is, of course, referring to a normal guy, a normal, sane, awake person. Okay? So he makes this intention at the beginning of the month. Now, we've got this guy, like I just said to you. He is asleep all the way as I told you. Tell me quickly, he's fast.
No, it's not.
Not valid?
Valid.
Okay.
Yes. Valid.
Okay, someone defend it.
If he's sleeping,
Obligation has been lifted from him.
Yeah, so following that train of thought, you have to make it up.
No, because
Okay, well, hold on. So, Zafar says, if he's sleeping, obligation has been lifted from him. Therefore, it wasn't even a fast in the first place, like the crazy guy, and he doesn't have to make it up. Okay, that's the first argument. Heard that, everybody? Everyone clear with that? Okay, yep.
No, because
No what?
his fast isn't permitted.
His fast
It's not
isn't.
accepted.
It's not accepted. That's what he said, by the way.
Well, it's not accepted.
Yeah, he said it's not accepted because it wasn't obligated upon him in the first place. In fact, he didn't do anything anyway.
No, but he's being lazy.
Okay, all right, go on, carry on, go on.
Because if he's sleeping to get out of, do his...
No. My man's not blagging it. He's sleeping and he fell asleep and that's it. He didn't drug himself. You can't sleep intentionally, for all that period of time. Can anyone do that? Sleep, and then intentionally say, I want to wake up after Maghrib. No. Get out of town, bro. Are you kidding me? Come on.
doesn't it go back to the definition of fasting?
Does it go back to definition of fasting? What is the definition?
The worship of Allah with the intention to refrain from food, drink, intercourse, and all that break fast from the break of dawn until sunset. So doesn't that fulfill the condition? He made the intention. He fell asleep. He didn't black it, obviously. He woke up after Maghrib. So the conditions are met. So that would validate the fast.
Everyone hear that? Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah.
If you agree, put your hand up. If you disagree, put your hand up. Okay. So the correct answer is that his fast is valid. Okay? And exactly for that reason. MashaAllah, well done. Because actually all of the conditions have been achieved. All of the conditions have been achieved. He doesn't need to actually be aware of what's happening during the day itself for this person. Because this person himself, he's obligated. If he was insane, the obligation doesn't fall upon him in the first place. We're going to come to that now. Anyway, we'll think. I just wanted to show you, just illustrate to you just how powerful intention is. Okay? He was saved by his intention. The insane one can't make an intention, just to help you out. Okay? The sane one can't make an intention because he doesn't have the ability to be able to consider the act in front of him. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay? The sleeping one, he's made the intention, he knows exactly what he wants to do, and then he just smashed it. Okay? Completely. Out of the park. We'll come. Alright, let's quickly move on. So there's number 2. There are 2 obligations upon the one who is mukallaf. Okay? Mukallaf, we all should know now, yes? We have spoken about that in the early sessions. Again, just to repeat it to you again. The mukallaf means the one who is legally responsible. This comes from the concept of taklif. Okay? Taklif in Arabic means legal responsibility. In Urdu, it means Shazad Salim, what he is to me every single day. Big taklif. No, Allah. Bil-aqs, the exact opposite. I am Shazad Salim's biggest taklif in his life, you know that. If I wasn't in Shazad Salim's life, honestly, it's a free ride. He would enjoy his life, but I'd stress him out so much, miskeen. Wallah, he's such a nice guy, mashallah. So, taklif, in Urdu means stress, isn't it? Yeah? What else does it mean? Oh, Urdu files. Pain. Not that much. No. Hardship, isn't it? Yeah, difficulty. Not pain. Huh? Shazad ain't got a dally about Urdu, man. That guy's got the worst Urdu on the planet. Even I speak better Urdu than him. And believe me, मेरे उर्दू बड़े बहुत बकवास उर्दू है. उसके आपका पता है वो पठान लोग वो किसके वो उर्दू बकवास करेंगे, हम उसी लोग like that है. Oh my God. Everyone's a female. That's our rules. Our rule is very simple. Patan, the rules for Urdu are very, very simple. Make everyone female, everything's hair. And that's it, yara. We don't have that education system where we get taught Urdu. We just learn it from drama. Drama. It's drama, isn't it? Yeah. Well, you know what's amazing is that, subhanAllah, my mum, she put my brother and sister into formal Urdu lessons. In Ilford, Kasmi, we used to have an Urdu teacher. And they taught my brother and my sister formal Urdu. And you know me, I couldn't care less. And I bet I speak better Urdu than both of them. I don't actually. Well, I'm sad. They both got hijacked by Punjabis, man. My brother got hijacked by a Punjabi girl. My sister, pure blood, Pathan. Punjabi Urdu guy gone hooked up. The bloodline, has been muddied. So it was all down upon me to fight for the Nasr Khil and for the bloodline. We will keep the Pathan blood flowing. Whatever your plan is, Ya Abu Dhar. You Pakistani killed us, wallah, honestly. Right, okay. Taklif, difficulty, yes? Difficulty. So if you see a taklif in the Urdu language as difficulty, then likewise it's very close to the Arabic meaning as well. Even though we're talking about legal responsibility. The person who has no taklif doesn't have to do anything. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the one who's insane, he has no difficulty in life, quote unquote, because he doesn't have to be accountable for all of his actions, all of his statements. When he stands in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he'll be given full entrance into paradise based upon just witnessing that he is Allah, as narrated in the Sunan of Ibn Majah. Those people who are in that condition, who didn't have the ability to understand what is God, what is not, what is heaven, what is hell, they would just meet Allah. Am I not your Lord? Yes, you are. Lovely jubbly. In we go. You know, that's great. That's what you call life of no difficulty. Yeah? So that's why taklif, I like using the Urdu example to explain the Arabic one. So the mukallaf is the one who has to have taklif upon his shoulders, has to deal with things legally and responsibly. So what is the 2 obligations upon the one who has taklif? So we know, by the way, taklif here means the person who is aqil, just so that we can fill in the gaps here. Obviously, the first condition, it has to be Muslim, of course. So the first condition of taklif is that he is Muslim, that he or she is sane, meaning aware of what's going on, sane, and that they are post-pubescent. Yes? that they understand. So that's yani baligh or bulugh, puberty, whatever that is, 12, 13 years old, whatever, it depends. It doesn't matter when it comes, but when it comes. So these are the essential conditions to establish taklif. So when you're called mukallaf, it means that you are Muslim, baligh, aqil. Yeah? Now, upon every Muslim, baligh, aqil, he has two obligations. Either he sees the new crescent moon, which is called the hilal, okay? You remember, of course, that the word moon has many names in the Arabic language. They love talking about the moon and women who look like the moon, right? So they're always describing the women and their beauty and their teeth and their ankles and their this and their nails and comparing it to the different parts of the moon on this day, on this night, at this period. It's ilm and knowledge that has been lost in our modern times. When we start talking about the women, we get attacked. Shazada, any time I start talking about a beautiful woman, they said that I'm just, I don't know what I'm doing, what's going on. It's not fair, is it, Abu Dhar? All the scholars, they are allowed to do it, no problem, and blag it as a moon description, and I'm the one who gets attacked.
Put it in as poetry.
I have to go put it in as poetry. Wallahi, I'm working on poetry skills. If I'm working on it. I'm going to start releasing proper poetry, describing moons and women and ankles, and then I'm going to be respected in the world again. It's important to keep your respect. Right. So the new moon is called Hilal. Excellent. The moon just al-itlaq is called in general Qamar. Very good. And a full moon is called Badr. Yeah? You happy with that? These are the three main names. I think I was having a Badr. If you everyone knows Badr. Yeah, the word Badr, yeah? Because you all know about because you all know that the statement Talat al-Badru alayna. Yes? You know that, right? You do know that, please. Please tell me that every pack here knows the moon has risen upon us. Yeah, the song? Which was referring to, of course, what the people of Medina they sang or the children of Medina they sang when the Prophet ﷺ he arrived from Mecca, and instead of saying the Prophet has come, they said the full moon, because the full moon is the most beautiful and the most expressive and the most looked forward to and the most by the way, again, if you just want a linguistic connection to why people used to love the Badr so much, you are living in a city of lights and electricity and so on. When you have lived like I have in the Badia where there's nothing, no light whatsoever, okay? I mean no light whatsoever at all in a desert, and you see the difference between the beginning of the month and in the middle of the month, okay? When those middle 3 days come and that full moon hits, it's like a new life. The whole night then is all full of ease, you don't trip over anything, you're seeing everything, it's just a beautiful, beautiful experience compared to the missions that it is in the third, fourth, fifth night or whatever. So when people see a full moon, they do have an extraordinary happiness anyway, and then the full moon is perfect in its brightness, and so the Prophet ﷺ and many other narrations, they described him as the one who, like, they're looking at him like they were looking at the moon. So anyway, they sang that. I have to laugh, of course, because as we put on Facebook the other day, when they found one of these scum hypocrites, the opposition to the Egyptians, to Morsi, one of the opposition leaders to Morsi, and it was put to him that this is essentially a battle between Iman and Kufr, and between the Muslims and the Munafiqeen and the secularists. And so Hadar Rais, this leader, he goes, "Ihna Muslimin, come on." He goes, we are also Muslims as well. Why are you trying to make this a battle of they're the Muslims and we're the kuffar? Also, when I hear a surah, Talat Badru Alayna, I also start crying. Allah la adri wallahi. Kullum kakada. Wallahi, to be honest, I laughed too much when I heard that qasma. It's true though, you keep saying something to people, you think it's a surah from Quran. They said, Allahu A'lam, I didn't know, they said that when he said that to the reporter on the TV station, that Surah Talat Badru Alayna, it was on Al Hayat TV, okay, that it was a woman reporter, she goes, Sadaqallah al-Azim. This is what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if that's true. But if it's true, that's hilarious as well. Anyway, are we going to get through this or what? Listen, number 2. Qasm is at 8:40.
Yeah.
That's the end of the lesson, isn't it? No? Are you trying to call me, Shaz? Are you trying to ruin this on purpose? Who's got a mobile phone which is going down, down, down? Right, okay, alright, let's read through this. Right. So either, number one, two things are going to be an obligation upon every single Muslim, okay? Either you see the new crescent moon, either by your eyes alone, proper eyesight directly, right? Or you are allowed to use something which magnifies it. I've put in translation binoculars and telescope. But these are called alatul qurb, yani the instruments which make things nearer, i.e. magnifying instruments. So binoculars and telescopes, but not by calculations. Not by calculations, because it has to actually physically be seen. And the reason why calculators and telescopes and all the rest of it are used is that actually they're doing nothing other than help you see. It doesn't matter that you're using something to magnify the sky, as long as it can be seen. Okay. The second thing which is obligated if one is unable to see is to allow the month of Sha'ban, the current month that we're in, to complete 30 days. It has to be either or. Now obviously you might say, well, hold on, I never seen a moon in my life, I just follow the masjid, or I follow thingy. And if you do follow the masjid, then you are following one of these opinions, as long as the masjid is also basing their decision on one of these two things. Okay. The third point, the people of a country should fast based on the testimony of a single person. So there's only one person that needs to be able to make the announcement, just one person, and that will enable the beginning of the month. But breaking their fast, meaning by that signaling the end of Ramadan, okay, and the onset of Eid and the month of Shawwal, okay, then we need the testimony of two people, okay, and both of these people, whether the first case is one person or in the second case two people, both of them have to be known to be trustworthy and reliable people, have to be known for that, and they also need to have good eyesight as well, which is common sense. Now, there's an interesting discussion. According to the Hanabila, they accept a woman witness. And you might think, well, why is that even a question? But there are a number of scholars that did not consider the witnessing of a woman to be acceptable in this. And then there were others that said the numbers have to be changed. The correct opinion, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. And it is, in my opinion, the one which Shaykh Uthaymeen leans to. He doesn't come out with an open statement, which is an important point to write. It's like he doesn't want to commit himself. But he ends his discussion. And this is important what I'm saying here. When you're studying with the scholars, you need to also understand the way that they speak and the way that they end a paragraph or a statement, or the way they end some speech, for you to be able to read exactly what was trying to be indicated without them saying it. So from what I understand from Shaykh Uthaymeen is that he supports this position. The Hanbalis do anyway, that it's acceptable for females to be part of this process without having to be more than 2 or 3 or 4 and so on and so forth. Okay, just one woman to start it and 2 women to end it, just like the males, and Allah knows best. And on that point, if you imagine, therefore, as the scholars said, that if a person he sees, okay, I've got a question for you. Me, all right, I'm here, I go out, I see the moon. Okay, what's the ruling on me fasting tomorrow? I see the moon with my own eye.
Depends if everyone accepts.
Okay, so the Qadi, he rejects my thingy. He goes, AE, that guy, all he does is talk about women and moon and ankles. And, we cannot be taking that guy as a dini role model. And I'm like, I'm heartbroken when he says that. Yeah? I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm the holiest guy on this planet, right? So, I've been rejected.
So, some of the Hanbalis, they said that...
Forget Hanbalis, just give me your opinion.
I say that you don't fast.
I don't fast, because?
Because the fasting, as Prophet said, when people fast, they break the fast when they break the fast.
So, what Nasir is putting forward is a statement which is the statement of the Prophet ﷺ, which is fast when the people fast and break the fast when the people break their fast. And this is a long discussion which Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah has discussed in detail, okay? With respect to community unity when it comes to these kind of actions, especially in a Muslim country, especially so. According to Shaykh Uthaymeen and according to the Hanbali opinion, this is not the case. In the Hanbali opinion, because you have seen it, how many people are required to see the moon for the month of Ramadan to start? One person, you've seen it, it's in. They don't want to fast, they don't fast, but you start fasting. So that's the ruling. Now, you also see, because you're the daddy when it comes to moon sighting, you also see the month of Shawwal. Okay? The month of Shawwal. What happens then?
We need two, isn't it?
Okay, therefore what happens? But I've seen it. But no one else has seen it.
No, we need two.
I've now, by the way, I've fasted 30 days. Okay? I've fasted 30 days and I've seen the moon of Shawwal, meaning the Eid moon, and no one else has seen it and they're still rejecting. Even after that 1 month of me doing lots of ibadat and lot of Quran, they still said, yeah, that pack is still talking about girls and moons and things. It didn't work, yani. With that fake show of piety and Taraweeh and Ameen, Ameen. Sheikh, don't do along with her du'as, honestly. You know, I have big criticism against that, Sheikh.
Don't worry, the mosque has, trustee and policy.
We have policy. We will be following masjid policy. Good. Khalas, then. We're all safe then. So, what do you think, folks? No one else saw it. Yep.
2 people needed to see it.
Okay.
So you have to fast.
I have to fast. I've fasted 30 days already.
No, you don't have to fast.
I don't have to fast
Because you have completed 30 days.
because I've completed 30 days. So we have two opinions here. One, I've done 30 days, don't have to fast. Second, there's no second person to confirm the moon entering, I have to fast. The position of Shaykh Uthaymeen is that you fast 31 days. The position of Shaykh Uthaymeen, alayhi rahmatullah, is that you are not allowed to have Eid, you fast and you fast 31 days. And actually he has an opinion that 31 days is acceptable in a number of occasions, which we might come across another 1 or 2 as well. So he would continue, and he knows that if the moon is rejected that night, it definitely won't be rejected another day. He will never end up fasting 32 days. So it's an interesting discussion, but I'm just putting out to you that Shaykh Uthaymeen, he says that you will not fast, you will fast, because it requires 2. It requires 2. Okay? We're going to rush through the rest of this now, folks, alright? Number 4, whoever starts his fast in one country and then travels to another so that the number of his fasts ends up changing, he should complete his fasts with that second country, even if this means he fasts for more than 30 days. And if it means that he fasts too little, then he makes up for that later so that he ends up fasting 29 days. I think that's really straightforward, that, isn't it? Yeah? Is that okay? So I might start fasting, like I start in Shidul, I start today and I fast, okay? And then I fast for a week and 7 days, and then I go Pakistan and they only started yesterday, yeah? Because that's normal. Because Pakistan, they at least 5 or 6 days. They need to get their house in order and declare the moon being seen. So you would continue, you'd go there, and the question is that obviously 5 days early, I'm going to end up having finished 30 days. What should I do? Shaykh Uthaymeen, he says that you will carry on fasting, it doesn't matter what number it comes up to. You will carry on fasting until they have their Eid. And that's putting into practice what Nasr was mentioning earlier on from the Hadith of Prophet ﷺ, that your Eid is the Eid of the people. So you to do anything by yourself is not right. And that's his opinion, and Allah knows best. And likewise, the other way around as well. Let's say that you fast a lot more, other people have started Ramadan before you. When you get there, you end up basically doing Eid with them, and you fasted only 28 days. If you fast 28 days or 27 or whatever, then after Eid is finished, you have to make up fasts up to the minimum number of 29. Not 30, not 31. You just have to do a 29 as a number. Is that clear? That's an important benefit, because you don't need to fast 30 months to do a month. 29 is the minimum. Okay? So that's his opinion as well. Number 5. Those who are unable... Is that clear, everybody? Yeah? Those who are unable... I know that a lot of people got some side questions. We can't take side questions now. If you have a fundamental misunderstanding with the point, put your hand up, we'll deal with it. Those who are unable to fast but expect to be able to do so later in the year should make up their fast after Ramadan. This is the point of temporary illness. Basically, those who have an acute problem. So they fall into, I don't know, they might have pneumonia, or they might fall into TB, whatever, require some temporary hardcore treatment, and then they're back normal again. So this is about the ruling about the person who we expect there to be a recovery from. Yeah? So whenever a person is ill, because when you fall into 2 categories of the properly ill, you're properly ill but it's a temporary thing, or you're properly ill or you're too old and that's a lifetime condition. So you might have diabetes, you're on insulin, you're on medication for whatever. These are properly ill people. They have their own separate category. But those people who we expect to get better, then these people, they don't fast, but they must make up the fast afterwards. No other options, no other expiations. They have to make up those fasts later. Okay, The next point, which is point number 6, feeding others in place of fasting for those with legal excuse. Let's talk about legal excuse. Who are those with legal excuse? Quickly tell me. A doctor. Why are you choosing a doctor? Why has a doctor got a legal excuse? If it was me, I'd make the doctors fast all year round. They've already eaten up NHS as much as it is. What more can they eat? Boom, boom. Who are legal excuse? Come on, man. Legal excuse. Yalla, man. Sick. What kind of sick? Okay. Long-term sickness, permanent sickness. Good. One. True. No. Elderly who can't do it physically. Breastfeeding. That doesn't fall into this category, no? Pregnant. Okay, that's it. Alright? Nothing else. Those who are terminally, oops, hold on, let me start again. Those who are long-term proper, sick, ill, infirm, you can call it. Second, elderly, and they're unable to come back. Maybe infirm is associated with that. Those who are pregnant, those who are breastfeeding. These are people who we say have legal excuse. Now, the breastfeeding and the pregnant, there is a big discussion about whether they should be included in this. And in my opinion, in my personal opinion, they should not be. And Shaykh Uthaymeen has a long discussion about this, and that's why we've created a separate point. We'll come to that. So I want you to understand in this point here, number 6, that what we're talking about are those people who we do not expect to recover ever to fast. That's why Shaykh Uthaymeen keeps them in a separate category, because he always considers the pregnant lady and the breastfeeding one to finally get back to a time when they will be able to fast. The problem is that's because he was in Saudi and he didn't see the Pakistanis and Somalis, okay? Because if you'd seen the Pakistanis and Somalis, then we are, mashallah, making machine out of our women, and we say, you get busy, girl, and you don't worry about those fast clocking up. 30 days each year, no problem. Next 15, 20 years, just keep pregnant and breastfeeding, and then after 20, 30 years, they end up and they turn around, they have 66 years of fast to make up. We say, mashallah, get fasting, right. We'll come to this point later. Anyway, so, feeding others in place, for those that are those with legal excuse. I want you to mentally, when you hear legal excuse, you think of elderly and too sick. Alright? It was said that it should be a 1.5 kg from the staple food of that country per poor person per day. That is the general opinion amongst the fuqaha, the classical schools of fiqh, that for each day that you miss, you have to give one miskin a sa' of food. Yani, which is like about 1.5 kg, 2 kg, whatever it is. But Shaykh Uthaymeen says the stronger opinion, and the one he rules by, and I think is good, is that in actual fact, it should be whatever fills and satisfies a poor person. Whether that's less or whether that's more, regardless. It's about the poor person being completely dealt with on that day. Whether that's more, whether that's less. The feeding itself can be done either during Ramadan or after Ramadan. This person is not going to be fasting in Ramadan. They have the choice of either organizing it for it to be done in Ramadan. And the reason this is discussion is obviously in Ramadan the poor people eat less, whereas after Ramadan they'll eat more because they're doing 3 meals, etc., etc. Yani, generally. So that's also a point here. But it's allowed for the person to choose for it to happen in Ramadan, the feeding, or after Ramadan, and that's okay. Moving to the next point. Number 7. If someone wasn't fasting for a legitimate reason, and then that reason was removed. Okay, so you have a legitimate reason to not fast at the beginning of the day. Then later on in the day, that reason has been removed. For example, a non-Muslim becoming Muslim. Okay? Or the insane person regaining sanity. Then what do they have to do? They have to fast for the rest of that day only. That's it. They do not make up that fast, which is an exception to the rule. They do not make up that fast qada'an, because they hadn't had it obligated from them from the beginning. This is the reason. This is according to Shaykh Uthaymeen, and there's... By the way, I just want to say to you, these points have so much ikhtilaf amongst the scholars, and you'd expect that. But this is Shaykh Uthaymeen's opinions that we're just rushing through, just to give you some context. So, what did I say? You come into the game halfway through the day, you then make up that day, and then that's the end of the matter. Okay? Number 8. If someone breaks their fast in the beginning of the day due to a legitimate reason, such as a traveler or one who starts menstruating, and then they don't have that legitimate excuse anymore later during the same day, they are not obligated to fast for the rest of the day. They are, though, expected to make up that day later. So the traveler, he might go, right, and he goes to his place, and so he's not fasting, and then maybe he realizes that actually, you know what, I can't go ahead with this journey anymore. So he comes back home, and so now he's not a traveler, he's a person who's resident. Does he have to make up the fast for that day? No, he had the legal excuse, he doesn't have to make up that fast. But he has to now go and make up that later. So he doesn't have to complete the fast for the rest of the day, but he has to make it up later. The menstruating one, you might think, how is that possible? It is. People, they think they're menstruating, and they break their fast, and then they look and they check and they see, and then they realize actually it wasn't menstruation at all. And so they have the choice then again of either continuing to fast that day, but they don't have to. They still have to make up that day later though, as a qada. Qaza. Yeah, qaza? Everyone happy with qaza? Alright then. Qada. Yep. Nope. Shaykh Uthaymeen does not say imsak. Number 9. The sick one and the traveler. What's the ruling with respect to these two people? So someone who's ill, cough, cold, headache, that kind of thing, and someone who's traveling, wherever they're traveling. If fasting is, and this is an eternal debate, okay, between the scholars. Should they fast or should they not? Okay? And all the scholars have their argument. Shaykh Uthaymeen, he makes it very simple. He says, if fasting is not difficult upon that person, لا يشق عليهم, it doesn't cause big mashaqqa, big stress and a big problem, then for them to fast is better. For them to fast is better. And if it causes them problems, then for them to not fast, then that's better. And for the one who is caused harm, actual harm, then it is actually haram to fast. For the one who has harm caused by that, it's haram to fast. Now, this is an important lesson that we have to try and get into the head of our parents when we receive medical advice from a doctor that's saying to parents, Pak parents especially, I don't know if it's the same as Somali Arabs, I don't know. They never listen. And so maybe this is just a parent thing, or maybe it's an older generation thing.
Yes.
I think an older generation thing. Paks, I think everyone knows, yes? You try to say to them, no, the doctor said don't, this, that, no, I'm going to fast. Whatever happens, we're going to fast. Because, you know, it's that Pak genetic thing which is passed through the womb. We never drink alcohol, and we're never going to miss a fast. Everything else, no problem. Haram, lie, no salah, no kada, shirk, everything, dance, whatever, no problem. Magar alcohol, never. Fasting, must do it. Alright. So, but that last point is important to try and put forward to our parents and say to them, listen, actually the scholarly opinion is that if it's going to cause you harm and mess up your medication, mess up your sugar levels, mess up your hormone levels, blah, 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 then it's impermissible to fast. Impermissible to fast. Number 10, if one starts fasting as a muqim, meaning resident, meaning he's at home and then travels, he can only break his fast. Now, he didn't, in the translation in Arabic, there was no mention of only, and I didn't put only in, but I want to put only in, okay? So he can only break his fast once he has left the city. And I say that because there is a difference of opinion on this issue, that if you're at home and you're a traveler, meaning that you've made the intention, I'm going to travel now, yes? So you know when we come to Kitab al-Salah, there's a ruling. Are you allowed to now, for example, pray 2 at home and combine with the other 2 because you know you're going to another country and it's going to become a mission? We know you can't. You can't take advantage of the rules of traveling even though you make the intention of traveling from home. What we say that once you are properly outside the city, then you can start taking advantage of the rules of traveling. Qasar, Jama', this, that, whatever. And we give the ruling that the airport, that's my ruling, that the airport is the not the buildings. There's a difference, yani, what is the definition of the edge of the city? Some people said it's the last parts of the buildings. Some people said the last part of residential houses. Other people said it's where a ring road starts. And other people said the airport, for me, is very clearly the airport. Because the airport normally fulfills all of the 4 conditions previously mentioned. In general, civic planning tries to ensure that. In any case, that's a contemporary opinion. That traveling starts physically in terms of using the benefits when you come to an airport. Likewise, if you pass the airport whilst traveling as a sa'im, it's only then that you can start eating, not at home. You must be fasting when you set off, and you break your fast once you are out of the city. And this is the position of Shaykh Uthaymeen as well. Number 11. The pregnant and breastfeeding are allowed to break their fast if they fear for their unborn child or the weaning baby. So you're pregnant and it's the child inside, or you're weaning or breastfeeding and so it's the weaning baby. Here, there's a bigger discussion here, of course, because some of the scholars then split this up into categories. They said for the woman who fears for herself, for her own health, then there's a category for her, and for the woman who only fears for the child, then there's a category for her, and for the woman who fears for the child and her own health, there's a category for her. I'm not going to go into that discussion. We just keep it simple to what Shaykh Uthaymeen says. If you fear for your child, and what does fear for your child mean? It doesn't mean they have to die, okay? That doesn't mean that they're going to die if they don't get breast milk. It means that it's going to affect them, they're going to cry more, they're going to be giving you a headache more, they're going to increase in stress, and. This is enough. This is enough, okay? If they get weak as a result of it, especially if they're getting a lot of breast milk and they don't take other food very easily, very readily. I was having that discussion with some brother today as well. And this is a lot more common than you may think. Then for this person, this lady, it is permissible for her to break her fast and not have to fast. She has to make that fast up afterwards. Now you will have heard, obviously, in the issue of making up fasts for women and pregnant and breastfeeding and so on, that if it goes on for a long period of time and the next year comes around again, Ramadan, then because you haven't made it up in that year and you're moving into the next year, you have to pay some money as well, etc., etc. This is the opinion of Abdullah ibn Abbas. There's other statements as well of the other scholars. Anyway, I want you to know that my opinion, personal opinion, it's also the opinion of Shaykh Ihlan, it's also the opinion of Shaykh Uthaymeen, and that is that there is no compensation extra above making up the fast. It doesn't matter if it's 10 years or 15 years. And this is controversial, but it has Sahabi behind it. And there's no statement from the Prophet ﷺ to clarify this, okay? It only has actions and statements of the companions. They're the ones who said, if you went a year extra or 2 years extra, you need to make up the fast and it'a'un miskin, and pay for the poor person as well. The ruling we go by is that only the making up the fast, you are not obligated to pay for someone as well. Is that clear, everybody? That's the position of this class. Number 12. You are allowed to break your fast to help someone else in an emergency situation, saving someone else from drowning, that's drinking water, quote unquote, or the hariq, which means going into fire and inhaling lots of smoke and ashes and debris, which will likewise potentially break your fast because it goes into the stomach, or to give blood to someone who is dying. This is a large transfer of blood which weakens a person significantly. Blood transfusions to a large amount are considered. These are fatwa positions which they had discussions before on this, and I want to say that there is a difference of opinion on this, and it's always best to go on the safe side. So there are some scholars that said no blood transfusion whatsoever breaks the fast, and I accept the argument for that. But the safest position is to assume that giving blood transfusions, especially large amounts, do break the fast, and one should avoid that or keep it till night time or until after Ramadan. But if you do it to save someone's life, then this is it's allowed for you to do. It is not therefore obligatory to fast for the rest of the day, but you do have to make up the fast later in all of the above scenarios. Is that clear, everybody? Yeah? Everybody alright with that? Still try to keep going? Yes? Dying? Not? Don't keep going? Yep, keep going. Alright. So, number 13. The insane one and the unconscious. If they remain in such a state, okay, with no intellectual capacity for the entire period of the fasting day, there is nothing to be made up for them because there was no obligation upon them in the first place. Is that clear? That was a question I asked you in the beginning. As for the mahroom, mahroom is an excellent name, to be honest, okay? Who is the mahroom? Anyone knows when he is in the book of fasting? Who is the mahroom? I have said that he is basically someone who has been overcome with sleep for the entire fasting day. That's my definition. Why is that? What does mahroom mean? Yes, correct. Mahroom is like the one who has made something haram upon himself. That's what mahroom means. The one who has made something haram upon himself. And so what's the angle here? Basically, is a person who had the opportunity to get lots of reward, and it's silly, he lost all the opportunity to get reward. So the scholars in this chapter, they call this person the mahroom one, the one who basically blocks all reward from himself. How did he do that? Because miskin, he slept all the way from the beginning to the end. So he slept from the beginning to the end, didn't get any opportunity to do anything. So this is why they call him mahroom. What's the ruling though with respect to this guy? His fast is valid. As I said before, his fast is valid. Of course, based upon intention. As long as he had the intention, his fast is valid. 14. It is sufficient for Ramadan to make an intention for fasting for the whole month on the first night alone. And and that's it. Doesn't need to remember about the intention again. And there are scholars that say you should do it every night. And it's a good practice to do it every night. Remember, this is not a physical statement. What is it? Something like that. Somalis do that. It says Somalis always corrupting our deen. That's the problem. Alright?
Brought the hijab this country, alhamdulillah.
Please don't tell me it was Somali. There is no way, Sheikh, you're saying that Somalis brought hijab to this country. The only thing that the Somalis brought to this country is that dodgy pan that they bought. We had proper Bengali, nice quality pan, then they bought some kartuk business or whatever, I don't know. Yeah, the toxic one, cancerous one. Behave yourself, Yara. And they increased the trade of bananas, and that's about it. Nothing else. And they gave us Masjid Furqan, wallahi, nice masjid. Yeah. And they gave us Shaykh Abdul Ghaffar as well. Yeah, and kafa, alhamdulillah. So, so a person who makes the intention at the beginning of the month, that's sufficient. But you need to get into the habit of making the intention every night as well. It's a good thing, okay? And it's good, actually, subhanAllah, practicing Muslims, I've said this in classes before, I said the difference between a practicing Muslim and an ordinary guy is in the intention. That's all. That's the difference between a knowledgeable person, a scholar, and a basic guy. And it's by manipulation of the intention that a scholar or a better person than you becomes a better person than you, because he or she is able to make mundane actions into acts of ibadah by their intention. So a person who understands intention, understands how it goes, that system, he can really smash it out of the park, really can. And the one who's always, because a lot of people, they do things automatically. And the problem with doing things automatically is that you're not therefore counting them as acts of worship. And so the one who's able to keep making hudur every single time they're about to do an act and think, I want to do this for the sake of this. I'm not going to go sleep now because of this. I'm going to eat this meal because of this. I want energy because of this. Every mundane moment, thinking like that, control of the intention, you make your whole day work for you. And that's the clever person, making the day work for you as an act of ibadah, as opposed to you just letting things go on auto, maybe doing great things and not getting rewarded for it, because you're not actually making the intention for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That can happen, by the way. It's really easy. You know, I'll give you an example. This is a really simple example. In this kind of current climate, political climate, the amount of political tension that's out there, and you know, you feel, you see headlines and newspapers and everything, and you know that everyone is looking at you as the hijab one, as the one with the beard. And you know that you might go out publicly and you might see someone, or a number of people looking at you strange, and you might see someone who's struggling to cross the road, and you think to yourself, if I help this person cross the road, which is something you would do anyway as a Muslim, or just as a pack, actually. You just do it anyway because, you know, that's in your culture, all right? And you are practicing enough to have done it because you know that's the thing to do from the deen point of view as well. But because at that moment you're so occupied with the other people looking at you thinking PR, let's get a good image for Muslims or whatnot, okay? You lose out on what potentially could have been a great act of ibadah. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? To just stop and reflect upon the situation, doing this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether there was anyone or no one here watching me doing this. And, if they're watching me, then I hope that I also get a good result for the Muslims in the rest of the country, and I make things easy for them. And I'm showing that a person who's in control of their intention knows how to manipulate their intention in every single scenario. He's cleaning up day and night. So it's very important that I say, even though the intention is not a spoken thing, it's a feeling in the heart. It's just a feeling in the heart that I'm fasting tomorrow. Khalas, you don't need to say anything. It's just that I'm fasting tomorrow. That's it. That's all the intention is. You don't need to say anything whatsoever. And I want to say that hadith is not very weak either. I don't find a major problem people saying it. I don't have a major problem. And some people said it's weak. I think our Sheikh was Sheikh Shu'aib al-Arnaout. I think he said hadith is Hasan. I don't think it's a major problem that a person says that dua. But make the intention. Now, as I said, regardless though, whether you made the intention at the beginning of the month or not, if you go through that month and you break that month with a day off, and by a day off I mean you menstruate or you go to travel, you have to then renew the fasting again. That original intention from the beginning of the month is broken, and so now when you're starting your fasting again, you have to now make another intention for the rest of the month. Is that clear, everybody? You can't just determine and stick to the original intention that you had first time round, okay? And it should be renewed again if his fasting is interrupted by travel or sickness. Also, whoever after seeing the new crescent moon, establishing the month of fasting, sleeps with the intention to fast, his fast the next day is valid. As for the one who intends not to fast, he has broken his fast by that. What's the meaning of that statement? It's just showing actually how powerful the intention is. Meaning that the night before, if you have the intention, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if you miss everything, you fall asleep, whatever, you'll get the intention, you get the reward. Likewise, it's so powerful that, here's a classic for you. How do you break your fast at Maghrib time? Eating tamar, quick. Water.
Salt. Most of the time just ties up, you're not fasting.
Okay, but is that what people do?
That's what I do.
Is that what people do? You pack? Oh my God. Okay, you don't know. Let me tell you. 99% of all people, they think that the fasting is broken by the thing you eat. Okay? Right? You're all looking at me thinking, well, of course it does. What else does it get broken by then? You see, you're thinking that and biting into that or drinking that and saying Bismillah, that's the breaking of the fast. It's not. Actually, it's the intention to break the fast which breaks the fast. I remember this very vividly because I remember I'm on the phone to someone who's on the in a car and they're on a motorway. They got no food, whatsoever, and he's on the phone to me. He goes, "Oh man, I don't know what to do. Do you know where I can stop? I can find some food. I need to break my fast. I've got nothing in the car with me whatsoever." I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "I've got nothing. I'm on dates. I've got no chocolate. I've got no."
You're on the phone to me, and that was you driving the car.
Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. Have you seen this? Is this revenge? Is this what it tastes like? My God. That's maybe from his own family, from his own gang, from his own people. All the times I defended you against John Lewis and toilets and sale shopping and all the times I defended you, and you're making this attack upon me, Shazada. How much love I should I've got rinsed, yeah? Yeah. Okay, don't worry, Shazada. Okay.
I'm just saying,
The guy's killed the story, innit? The guy's killed the story. Although I think there may be some truth in what he's saying. That did happen one day, yeah, Shaz? I said to him, there's a difference between saying, I'm gutted, I don't have food, and not knowing how to break the fast. So anyway, the point is that the fast is broken by intention. Yani, it's not broken by taking the thing, eating whatever, which I'm not going to open that can of worms. But so that's why the companions, and we have many narrations that they used to break their fast in many different ways. Okay, just need to be a bit imaginative about how you want to break your fast, because ultimately it's broken upon intention. Once you want to break the fast, it's broken. The reason Shaykh Uthaymeen makes this statement here is that he wants to emphasize to you that the second you tell yourself you're not fasting, you're not fasting. Whether it's at an hour before the time, hour after the time, on time, it doesn't matter. The second you tell yourself, I'm not fasting now, you're not fasting. And that's essential. And that's the same in salah as well. You know how everyone, when they realize that they haven't got wudu in their prayer, they go, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and they walk off, thinking that you have to give salam to break the prayer. There's no salam needed, because once you say to yourself, I'm not praying, you're not praying. That's it. You're just standing there wasting your time. Once you've said, because the intention is a condition that has to be there from the beginning all the way to the end. The second that you break that intention, bang, it's all gone. So that's the point that he wants to emphasize. 15. The food which breaks the fast. What actually does it mean that food and drink has broken the fast? The actual food or drink that breaks the fast is not what is in the mouth. It's that what reaches the stomach. And it doesn't matter how it gets to the stomach, as long as it gets to the stomach, even if it gets there by the nose. So if you snuff something and it goes through, down, all the way into the stomach, that's what's broken. If you snuff something and it stays only in the nose, then that is sufficient. Now, obviously, you've got a number of matters here. Now, Shaykh does say anal suppositories do not break the fast. Some people did say that, okay? Because the medication will eventually get through into the system anyway. So anal suppositories, he said, do not break the fast. And likewise, he said, neither do eye drops, which leave a taste. And we know that most eye drops do leave a taste. Now, taste in of itself is something which is a tongue a matter. It's not when we think that, when we taste food, there's something happening below, whatever, but there's nothing, it's all local. So taste is not the issue. The issue is things going down. So the correct opinion is that anything which is put into the ears or eyes from medication and drops and all the rest of it, they do not break the fast. Okay? Whereas anything which goes into the nose, likewise, if it's in the nose and stays there, it won't. The problem is that it has a very straight, clear, easy run down to the stomach. So that's why the scholars on the nose were much stricter. Okay? All of these matters is best to avoid. A doubt. Like a puffer, like your inhaler for asthma. It is permissible for you to use an asthma inhaler during your fast, because this is gas, and that gas goes to the lungs, doesn't get swallowed. But even that's a doubtful matter. If you can get long-acting sprays, it's better. Likewise, sublingual tablets, glycerol trinitrate for angina patients, and sprays which are sprayed underneath the tongue. These do not go down, they go directly and act locally on the heart and are not swallowed. Again, it's a matter of doubt. The scholars have said they differed over it, and I follow opinion that it doesn't break the fast. But you should try to avoid it. Injections which are giving antibiotics, for example, which are non-nutritious. So we're not talking sodium chloride to flush the system out, or glucose to give energy to the person, or drop, in Pakistan where everything is all drop, and it's just glucose which is just going into the guy, miskin, gets charged 100 million rupees and just stick him out, drop, whatever. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about an injection of medication. Then because this is intravenous or subcutaneous or intramuscular, and it's not going to the central stomach as food, and it's non-nutritious, then the scholars also allowed that as well. Again, there's discussion and doubt over. All of these medications have doubt, and we should try to avoid it. But I've told you they don't break the fast. None of these that I've mentioned break the fast. Creams don't break the fast at all either. Okay? I don't know, Shuaib, was there another thing that you wanted to add to that? Covered it, yeah? Number 16. Whoever vomits intentionally or masturbates, okay, has broken their fast. And this is not even directly, even if done indirectly. Indirectly, such as repeatedly so directly is obviously sticking your mouth in your thingamajig in your mouth, or however they do it, whatever, I don't know. That thing, whatever. And that's directly. And indirectly is you causing it to happen. So repeatedly thinking of something sickening, and will make you sick, or hearing it again and again, and you're not cutting it off intentionally. And likewise, inflaming your desires sexually, whatever, doing whatever. And that causes ejaculation. That's the same as masturbation in itself. It breaks the fast if you do it intentionally. If it's done unintentional, vomiting unintentional can happen, okay, or ejaculation, which is unintentional, or when you're asleep, which is classified as a wet dream, these all do not break the fast, okay? So intentional is the key, all right? Number 17, the fast is broken, according to Shaykh Uthaymeen, and this is controversial, if you intentionally and I would put in brackets large amount of blood, but I don't want to speak over him, okay? Let blood, whether that is through donation or a nosebleed or via cupping. So according to him, that a large amount of blood that comes through the nose intentionally, I don't know how someone does that. I got no idea why he said that, okay? But if that happened intentionally, then it would break the fast. Donating a large amount, likewise, or cupping, hijama. Hijama is of course the ancient art of cupping. And there's a debate about that amongst the scholars. According to Shaykh, and it's a big discussion, Ibn Taymiyyah has a whole pages on it, right? But Shaykh Uthaymeen, he said, rahimahullah, that the one who does cupping, then he intentionally, then they break the fast. Unintentional of the all above doesn't. Also interestingly, the hajim, meaning the one who does the hijama, does the cupping, okay? Now, cupping, of course, is basically the removal from the body of toxic blood, dirty blood, okay? And it's done by cutting, making enough holes, and then via pressure and vacuum creation, sucking it out using various tools, and I'm sure you know about that. Now, obviously, a very primitive method would be to treat it like a snake bite, which is you stab onto and knock it out, okay? And that's what you would do. When you do that, when you've been bitten by a snake, you're trying to get the immediate poison out or the toxins out immediately. However effective that is, I've got no idea. But that's the point. You're getting in there, you try to increase the blood pressure, you're making sure that it bleeds as much as possible, and then you're sucking, and then taking it out. That's a very primitive way of cupping. The art of cupping is something very, very different. Likewise, Shaykh Uthaymeen said, someone who uses his mouth as the hajim, the one who sucking, he breaks his fast when he uses his mouth, which is very rare, by the way. But anyone who uses normal cups, as we do when we're doing hijama, they do not break their fast. So we're not talking about a person who's getting it done. His fast is broken regardless. We're talking about the one who is doing it. Number 18, one doesn't ruin their fast with something that breaks the fast. The word mufattir, okay, with a shadda upon the ta, this refers to those things which break the fast, okay, like an item which breaks the fast, or a thing which breaks the fast. So one does not have his fast broken unless it happens with the following three conditions. The person does it intentionally, number one. Number two, he's aware of what he's doing, he doesn't do it forgetfully. And number two, and number three, he's aware of the ruling on the matter. So he has to be aware, it can't be jahil. If he didn't know what's going on, so for example, literally for example, if a person is fasting and then he pulls out a fag and he goes, yep, has a couple of drawers on it, and he goes, yep, that's all great, puts his box away, and you say to him, Yara, what's happened there? And he goes, what's wrong? And you say to him that this is the ruling of the scholars, that this has broken the fast. Then his fast, if you told him then, and he accepts it, this is a difference of opinion here, okay, what should happen? But he should make up that fast. If he didn't know, the scholars are referring to this scenario where he didn't know, and you find out later in the evening, and you say to him, what's his cigarettes doing? He goes, I smoke that, whatever. And he goes, how did you do that? He goes, it doesn't break the fast. And you go, of course it does. And then that fast, according to this opinion, according to Shaykh Uthaymeen, does not have to be made up for that person because he did not know. And that's the condition number 3. Has to be aware of the matter. Is that clear? Is that clear, everybody? Do we need to go and do some star jumps and stuff because people are dying? Yeah? You want to do some hugging and stuff like that? Massaging or whatever? Do you think this is a Maghrib class or something? Right. So, next, where are we now? Is everyone happy with this? Yeah? And being knowledgeable includes removing all doubts. Everyone happy with this point? The second point, عمدا ذاكرا عالما. This is the Arabic if you want to know. Okay? عمدا meaning intentionally. ذاكرا meaning being aware. What's the opposite of ذاكرا? Nasiyan, yeah, okay, the one who is unaware. So you see someone, who's fasting and he just tucks in and he maxes, mashallah, okay, like our Sheikh Ihlan, he likes to do. He gets very upset that when he starts eating in the middle of the day and we tell him to stop, he gets very upset. He goes, "What did you tell me for?" He goes, "You shouldn't tell me." He goes, I didn't know what I was doing. I could have enjoyed my food." So he upset. We told him once and he got very angry. So we never told him again. I said, knock yourself out, Sheikh, enjoy yourself. So if you're not aware that you're doing it and you're forgetful, then it doesn't break the fast. That's what it means, dhakiran. Number 19. It is disliked for the fasting one to over-rinse, madmada and istinshaq, over-rinse and over-gargle. So the over-rinsing, istinshaq and madmada, we're talking about when you snuff the water with a big sniffing to get right up, yes? And then you're going to blow it all out, right? So that snuffing up is going to increase, of course, the likelihood of water going all the way down. Likewise, that's madmada. Now that obviously you can do it very basic in the basic mouth, or you can take it really far back and deep. We all know that, all right? You use that more, do it more deeper. These are sunnah acts, but it's obviously a lot riskier when you're fasting. It is makruh to do those madmada and istinshaq, like overdoing that during fasting, because there's a likelihood you could do a little, swallow. And also on the issue of a toothbrush and a toothbrush. Now on a toothbrush, it is better, he said, to avoid doing too much of that, and he should do so after he breaks the fast, more so than before, because there is a potential likelihood that he's increasing the saliva so much, and there might be a taste, and just increasing the likelihood of things being swallowed. And we're going to come to that in the chapter of siwak, obviously after Ramadan, which is not going to be any good. But then I do want to say that the scholars do believe that, and you saw Shaykh Uthaymeen, he said that a person, he's allowed. But he's not saying it's not allowed. He just says, you know what, because of the difference of opinion, the hadith, and it's just better just to avoid a fitna. As for the issue of toothpaste, which is the number 2 question, the number 1 question I'll tell you right at the very end. But the number 2 question that I get asked, and everyone gets asked in the Ramadan, is, can I use toothpaste? And that's a reflection of the culture and our sensitivity to our neighbors, basically, which is good. MashaAllah, that's good. So, because wallahi, I don't like people who stink in the mouth, and it's not right. Yeah? Okay. And it happens in Fajr, Sheikh, It's okay for you standing by yourself, yeah? What you got to worry about? We have to stand next to them in the front line. I think tomorrow morning, Sheikh, you make an announcement. Must wash your mouth with mouthwash before you stand in front line Fajr. Especially people are going to be coming. What's wrong with that? Allahumma ameen. Okay. I built this mosque trustee, Sheikh. Built this mosque. You will write it down somewhere. So, okay. So toothpaste. Truth be told, toothpaste does not affect the ruling of the fast itself, because it's something which is here, it has a taste which is here, and it smells which is there. There's nothing in of itself that breaks the fast. The problem is, of course, is that if you swallow toothpaste with water, either or, then that actually is a bona fide breaking of the fast. So it's a risk. And that's the reason why scholars say it's best to avoid it. Even though we say it's allowed. We say it is allowed to use toothpaste, okay? But it's better for you to delay it to a time where where you're not fasting, so that there's less risk. But I'm of the opinion that it is allowed. Yeah.
If you swallow toothpaste while brushing your teeth, it's unintentional.
This is a good question. If you swallow toothpaste whilst brushing your teeth, it's unintentional, is the claim. And it's a good claim. Is that the case? You knew the risk completely. Actually, you know everything. In fact, the second that toothpaste comes around, you're drying everything except for that to happen, which is therefore very clearly something that you're aware of.
That doesn't change the intention.
So here you're thinking about intention, meaning that you're restricting intention to a positive thought that I only want to do one action, and that's not what intention is. Like you're defining intention as I am going to swallow toothpaste. Okay, that's the problem. You see, no one makes intentions like that. No one makes intentions like that. Okay, very quickly, moving on then. Number 20. Whoever doubts or is not absolutely sure that Fajr has started and carries on with something that would normally break his fast is valid. Because the asl is that the night is still in play. Not that the day has started. Because the night is still in play. So the night remains. Do you understand about that? Okay, so he's excused. So I want you to understand this point. Let's imagine a person, he comes and he says to you that I think the adhan is gone, or I think that the time is in. And you say to him, are you sure? He goes, I don't know, I'm going to go and check. You're allowed to carry on eating and drinking, and no problem, until you are 100% sure. And even if that meant that you went over by a few minutes, and you find out afterwards, like he takes 5 minutes, he comes back again, he goes, yeah, it finished 2 minutes ago, and you stop eating there and then, no problem. Why? Because the basic ruling is that the night remains. The asl is the remainder of the night. Is that clear, everybody? So getting a little bit late on the sari or suhoor. What did Pax do to the word suhoor, man? Turning into sari. That is criminal, isn't it? Right. So that is something which is allowed. But point 21, which is an interesting point, is the other way round. Whoever doubts or is not absolutely sure that the sun has set and then breaks his fast, then what? His fast is invalid, because the asl is that the day remains. Okay? So if you have doubt, you shouldn't be going around eating anything. Okay? Because the day is in play and the night needs to be established. So you need to have clear evidences to be able to move into a state where you're not now fasting. Is that clear, everybody? So therefore he's not excused. And I think that's a very important point. Number 22. Whoever sees the sun set while he's on the ground, okay, and then sets off on a flight and then sees the sun actually hasn't set, it's okay for him, because the original breaking of his fast is correct, because the fast was based upon what he saw at the time and he broke it. Likewise, another scenario, if he lifts off on the flight before he sees the sun set on the ground, so the sun is still there, and he lifts off, and then he breaks the fast, and then he sees the sun afterwards, his fast is invalid, and he has done a haram action, because he has to see the sun set there and then. And if you are that unfortunate, okay, to be on that flight, which you half an hour before Maghrib, and you then get onto a next 12-hour flight, which is going the opposite direction, then you should always listen to when we say to you that don't fast when you're traveling, okay? That is what you're gonna end up doing, a 24-hour fast, and you'll be dead at the end of it. Okay, so that's that. Number 23. Yes, right.
What if you previous point? What if you just woke up a little bit later and then obviously you just want to quickly get
Okay, so a person who wakes up late, there's two scenarios, yeah? Person wakes up late and he thinks, gosh, I ain't got time to have my full qana, yeah? So I've got time maybe to grab a quick bite. So he grabs a quick bite and then he realizes that time is up. Alright? Meaning that he realizes that, I didn't realize the time had gone, making a mistake, and the time was already thinking. His fast is valid because he wasn't aware of what had happened. Whereas the second scenario, a person wakes up late, he goes, God, man, time's gone. I don't have the time to eat a full meal, but I have at least a little sip of water, otherwise I'm going to die. Now, of course, it's haram. That's haram, of course. So if he knows that the time has gone, he's not allowed to eat anything of any matter. Okay? Question? No? Intercourse for the one who is fasting. Okay? Whether in the front or back passage, as an act itself is haram. As an act itself, whilst fasting, is haram. Not only does he have to make up the fast, but he also has to give an expiation, a kafara. What are the expiations? The freeing of a slave. And that needs to be a real attempt at freeing a slave, meaning going around finding and taking the financial hit for that. Okay? If he's unable to find a slave to free somewhere, then he has to fast 2 months consecutively, no breaks. So he fasts every single day for 2 months. If he is physically unable to do that, meaning it's going to kill him or whatever it's going to do, okay? Then he has to feed 60 people. He has to feed 60 poor people. And each person is to be fed, as we know, enough to satisfy them for that day. Is that clear, everybody? All right? If the wife is complicit in the act of intercourse, then she has the same ruling at the same time. Now, complicitness, okay, means that she, obviously we're not talking about forced. Forced is something obvious, okay? Or asleep, if she's not aware what's going on, that's also doesn't apply. Force means that she didn't make any kind of complaint. Didn't say to him, stop, don't, haram, this is not right, wait, blah, 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 blah. If she doesn't make that kind of statement of some sort, she has to pay kafara exactly in the same way. Is that clear, everybody? Is that clear? Number 24. Whoever is fasting and traveling, both at the same time, and then has intercourse or is complicit in the act, so both from the male or the female side, okay, whilst at the traveling or whilst traveling and fasting. So this is a person who's fasting Ramadan and chose to travel as well, and then this happens. What's the ruling upon this person? They only have to make up the fast later. They have no kafara to pay. They only have to make up the fast later. This is because the expiation is linked to that Ramadan fast. The expiation is linked to the Ramadan fast, which is obligatory in its original sense. But when you're traveling, that fast, because of your concession, is not obligatory. And therefore the expiation is not applied. Also, whoever has intercourse more than once in a day, then there remains a single expiation. A single expiation alone. Number 25. Whoever has to fast 2 months consecutively, as a result, the kafara is 2 consecutive months, then you might say, well, what is 2 consecutive months? Well, the answer is that fasting is not affected by the following. Breaking for a journey, that's a legitimate break, okay? That won't affect the defining of it as 2 consecutive months. Traveling, being sick, menstruation, having a baby, or the bleeding postpartum bleeding, Eid coming in the way, either Eid or the 3 days of Hajj, the 3 days of Tashriq, okay, of eating and drinking. This comes in the way. As for the one, as I said before, when you're feeding other people, it's got to be that they are full. Finally, last 4 very quickly. Number 26, which is an interesting one. Gathering your spit together, which is just in the mouth, which people do just to keep their mouth wet. Yep, like that. So gathering spittle together and swallowing it intentionally. Okay? 1. Doesn't break the fast. Swallowing mucus. So actually going, disgusting behavior. I mean, like, behavior, right? Bringing it up and swallowing it. Keeping aside the fact that it's an act which is haram according to a number of scholars. Okay? Because it is disgusting and dirty, and they said is there harm in that? Is that mucus? Shaykh Uthaymeen said because of the harm as well. He said because of the disgusting nature and because of the harm. No harm? I don't know. When I read that, I thought that was strange. لِضَرَرِهَا. I don't think there's a darar in mucus, but it might be, I don't know. And he said that anyway, it's haram to do the act actually anyway. Or that doesn't break the fast either. It doesn't break the fast, even though the act itself is haram. Tasting food for a need, not just inshallah, let's see how this is. Yeah? No, it has to be a need. You've got some doubt that you didn't put the salt in, whatever, whatnot. I don't know, there's got to be a real concern. Then you have to that doesn't break the fast either, as long as you don't swallow. And then swallowing blood from bleeding gums. Okay, if your gums bleed and you unintentionally swallow that blood, all of these things do not break the fast. Number 27. This is al-ilaq, is mastic. Mastic is not something which is used in our society here. It's basically gum, basically chewing gum. Okay, so chewing gum doesn't break the fast. Okay, as long as it doesn't have a taste, as it has no flavor, it doesn't splinter, doesn't disintegrate, and you don't swallow it, and it doesn't reach the stomach, then it doesn't break the fast, because there's actually nothing which actually goes down. Of course, it's a matter of doubt, it should be avoided, but the ruling doesn't break the fast. Number 28, it is the sunnah to delay suhoor and to be quick to break the fast. Okay, you shouldn't delay. Once it's definite that the fast is broken, you should break the fast, as long as you're sure of the times. And the order of how to break the fast is that you start with rutab, which is fresh dates, soft dates, and then if not, then you go to dry dates, and if not, then you go to water. That's the order of preference, even though all and everything is allowed for you to break the fast. But that's the order of preference, okay? And it is sunnah that when you're making up fasts later in the year, that you act as if you were in Ramadan, meaning you follow the same etiquette, delaying the suhoor, hastening the iftar, and eating the food items that I just mentioned. Number 29, it is preferred to start making up missed fasts. Those that you miss for whatever reason, you should try to do that before you get onto the optional fasts, okay? Like for example, you might want to fast like Thursday because it is Thursday and you should fast. You should try and get the other fasting first. Even better, you combine intention. What should you do? You say, I'm making the intention to make up for my obligatory fast. Oh Allah, I also want to be rewarded for the intention for it being a Thursday as well. So you combine intentions like that. The one exception to this that the scholars mention, and this is Shaykh Uthaymeen's own personal opinion, and Allah knows best, is that the 6 days of Shawwal, which we should all fast, he does not allow intentions to be combined. He does not allow the intention to be combined. So therefore, and the reason for that is a hadith, because the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man yani wa atba." Okay, whoever fasts Ramadan and then follows it with the 6 days of Shawwal. And so they said that therefore you need to get those days done first that you missed, before you start then doing the 6 days of Shawwal, to get their reward, to be rewarded for the one who has fasted the full year. So that's something which is...
Is that always for females as well?
That's you have to try. Obviously females is never going to happen, because they've got hundreds, isn't it? Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen for the females. You just try your best as much as possible, okay? And finally, last point, if someone passes away while still needing to make up fasts. So this is not referring to a person who dies in Ramadan and doesn't fast the rest of Ramadan. We're talking about someone who passes away who has qaza upon them. Yeah? Qaza fasts. The uncles have come in, so I've got to start being opaque now. Yeah? So when he has qaza fast to do, owing fasts, then that is the time now where the inheritors, the guardian, the one who is dealing with his will, they will have to deal with these fasts, according to Shaykh Uthaymeen and according to a number of the scholars. How does he deal with the fasts? He either fasts them for the dead person, and he is also allowed to spread them out amongst the family. And the family should be the inheritors, the close people. And it's permissible for 10 people to take 3 fasts each, and it is permissible for one person to fast all of them. And it's permissible for them to all do it one after the other, and it's permissible to do it in any other scenario. So the owed qada fasts, when a person passes away, should be made up by other people. It is permissible for them to feed poor people on their behalf as an alternative, but that's not the sunnah, because the hadith is very, very clear. The Prophet ﷺ said that whoever had fast upon him then and passes away, then let them fast upon him or on his authority, as a result. So we should avoid from feeding the people, but it's permissible. And finally, you see some packs, you know what they do? They basically say, is there anyone that can go and fast for me, and we'll pay them some money for the day. Making istijar of the people who will fast. So this happens actually in some of the Arab countries. I've seen it before. And you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to actually seek to hire people to fast on your dead relatives' behalf. You should do it yourself or feed someone. And that is a summary of the 30 points with respect to Shaykh Uthaymeen's main opinions from the Kitab of Siyam of Sharh Mumti'. I mean, to be honest, I was crazy thinking that we could have done that in 40 minutes. But anyway, still. And I was asked to make a comment on what I think should be the timings of suhoor and thingy for Manchester at least. This is my opinion for the whole country actually. But certainly for Manchester, then we have chosen here in this masjid for Salah to start adhan wise an hour 25 and the Salah to start an hour 15 before sunrise. Okay? So I want you to know that in my opinion, I'm just going to give you what I'm going to be doing. I will not be touching food an hour 45 before sunrise. Okay? That's what I will be doing. Sheikh Ihlan has released his timetable today. It's going to cause lots of fun. He's hardcore Arab, yani, you know, Arab, we've got way more guts than we have. And so they're right on the line. He's gone for an hour 20, okay? So we'll just let him do that, yani, Markaz Bukhari. I'm a pack. We are always, yani, much more careful than that. So an hour and 45 is my cutoff. I don't look at any timetables, anything. 1 hour 45 every day before the sunrise time is when I will stop eating. With respect to Salah, you want to be trying to push that as far as possible. Hour 15 at the earliest, hour perfect. Okay? Hour 15 at the latest, hour perfect. That's the issue all sewn up with respect to your morning time. These are the two things. The time you make imsak, stop eating, and the time that you pray. We know that the sunnah is only one time. We are not in a time where the sunnah is clear. Because of our northern attitude, and I've discussed this until the cows have come home, and my article is on the internet, you can read about it. It's called Distinguishing Between the True Dawn and the False Dawn. You can read about it in detail there. I again emphasize, we will be stopping eating way before the adhan or when we think Fajr starts because of the difficulty in determining light. An hour 45 we will stop eating, and after half an hour or 45 minutes is when we will pray Salatul Fajr, not before that. As for iftar, sunrise, sunset times are all over the place. That's not a problem, and we prefer to wait at least an hour 15 or hour 20 before we start praying Isha. An hour 15, hour 20 is perfect. An hour for me is cutting it too short. There's no need for you to pray 2 hours later. Hour 15, hour 20, which is what will happen in this masjid as well. This will be sufficient. That's a summary for your Ramadan. You have now everything that you need, inshallah.
So 14th of August.
We return back again on Pakistan Independence Day Zindabad. Okay? This is when we will come back to our class, 14th of August, and it will be after Maghrib, okay? So you work out when it is. Maghrib will be 8:40 on that day. Maghrib will be 8:40 on that day. You will receive emails, but Maghrib it will be. And likewise in Jersey as well. For Jersey, for anywhere in the UK, what I've just said applies. Hour 45, stop eating. Hour for the Salah, hour 15 for Salah, hour 20 for Isha. And this is based upon a lot of our discussion and study and observation. The knowledge is in the books. And that's it. Jazakumullah khair. I hope Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts your worship from you in Ramadan. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He ensures that we reach Ramadan, that we benefit from Ramadan, and that we don't take it lightly. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept the worship of every single person with intention and without intention, to bring them closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that we benefit from the Quran, which really is the asl of our deen, and it's a very important time for us to come close to it. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring ease to all the people who are suffering in Ramadan. There will be people that are around us that will be fasting but not out of choice. And so I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring ease to them in Burma, in Syria, and in Egypt especially. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for stability and security for all the Muslims. Wa jazakumullah khair. Don't forget them in dua. Don't forget us in your dua. We'll see you inshallah in a month's time. Barakallahu fikum. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka Allahumma wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.